A very warm welcome to the transfer show here on the Football Market channel. We're taking a closer look at some of the breaking stories in and around players that potentially could be coming in to Southampton Football Club, the club that I support. Right, here is the latest story this Sunday, and that was tweeted this morning by the transfer guru Fabrizio Romano, who put it out there that a man that's been linked with Southampton all summer, Ben Brenton-Diaz, he is on the verge of signing for Southampton. I want to take a closer look at why Southampton have targeted Ben Brenton-Diaz as their replacement for Che Adams. While Brenton-Diaz, he was on loan last season from January onwards at Sheffield United, and this is his statistics for the season. He had 14 appearances. He scored 6 goals in his time at Sheffield United. He played 1,111 minutes. He had 35 shots, an XG of 6.1, a conversion rate of 17%, shot accuracy of 54%. He created 8 chances and he won 23% of his aerial duels. So, why are Southampton looking to bring Brenton-Diaz in? Well, he's a strong, powerful striker. He's played for his national side, Chile, but he did grow up in England, in Stoke. So he is he's English really, though he had a Chilean mother, and that is why he ended up playing for Chile. So he started out at Man United as a young lad. He played at Man United between the ages of 17 and 14. He then went on to play for his boyhood club Stoke in the youth team there. And then he signed a pro contract at Nottingham Forest in 2015. He had 2 years in the academy. Then he did go on to make his debut in 2017. And that was against Leeds United. He won't forget his first ever goal as a professional footballer because that come against Aston Villa. And it was an injury time winner for Nottingham Forest, a game that they went on to win. He then had Man United looking at him again, Liverpool looking at him again, and he finished that season fairly well. He scored goals against Fulham and Sheffield United, and in his second season with Nottingham Forest, he went on to score 5 goals and get 3 assists. Then came the move to Blackburn Rovers, and this is where Brenton-Diaz really made a name for himself. It started off a little bit slow for him. It was a loan move initially, which turned into a £7 million purchase in the end. He scored 2 goals during his loan spell with them. And in the first 2 seasons, he only scored 4 goals. And at that stage, they were talking about him being a bit of a flop. I watched another YouTube video with a guy, a Nottingham Forest fan, and they were talking about him being a flop. He was this £7 million flop. However, it did come good for him because Adam Armstrong was at Blackburn. He went to Southampton, our club, and when he left, that's when his season really kicked off because he played 37 games in the season after Armstrong left, and he scored 22 goals and got 3 assists. He then went on to play 43 games in the next season, scored 14 goals and got 4 assists, and then came a bigger move for the player. But he had a time at Blackburn where he did really, really well. And that was in and around the end of the COVID time and into that first season back after COVID when Adam Armstrong signed for Southampton that summer. He had to step up and fill that void that Adam Armstrong had left behind. But he went to Villarreal where he only played 14 games. He didn't score a goal there. So it was a bit of a difficult time over there. And that's when the move come about to come back to England to be loaned to Nottingham Forest. And ever since that, he's been looking for a move back to the Premier League. So Ben Brenton-Diaz looks to be on his way to Southampton. Get in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts to this signing. He is going to be the replacement for Adam Armstrong. In transfer news, another man that's been heavily linked all summer long was a man that was with us last season, and that being Ryan Fraser, because Southampton are still pushing to sign Ryan Fraser. And he is pushing to come back to St Mary's as well because he wants to become a Saint. Ryan Fraser was brilliant for Southampton last season in the Championship, and he helped Southampton secure promotion back with that victory against Leeds United at Wembley in the playoff final. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant that day, Ryan Fraser. It'd be good to see him back, but Russell Martin has admitted if this one can't be got over the line in the next couple of weeks, it probably will have to look at other options. He will need to look at other options. They will not be able to hang around for that much longer. The Premier League season is getting closer and closer for Southampton, and decisions will need to be made for the best of the football club. Right, two men that we do need to talk about that have been outstanding in pre-season as we come away from transfer news, because two young academy players have come through and done extremely well this pre-season. Sam Amieo on the left-hand side and Tyler Dibbling on the right-hand side have both been tremendous so far. Both have been brilliant during the time in Spain. Amieo scored a brilliant goal against Bordeaux. He tracks back, beats players, cuts inside, he's strong, gets a shot off. And against Montpellier on Saturday, Tyler Dibbling does exactly the same. Beats off players, looks strong, looks really physical, and scores a really good goal as well. So both the young men have been brilliant for Southampton in pre-season, and Russell Martin has been speaking about them both, and he doesn't want pressure piled onto these two young men, and rightly so, because they've got massive futures ahead of them, but they're both still only 18 years old. I put a video out on TikTok a few days ago saying that I'd love to see him involved in around the first team next season. What are your thoughts? Get involved in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts on these two youngsters that have been absolutely brilliant in pre-season. I think it will all come down to who gets brought in the door, whether they really get an opportunity next season for Southampton in the Premier League. But Russell Martin has been speaking about bringing players in, and he said they're hunting the right people in the right positions. He said, but we're going to have to be patient. We can't just go out and spend loads of money without any regard for the football club. And he's absolutely right in saying so. Russell said that we lost Brooks, Shay Adams and Stewie Armstrong. That's a lot of goals and a lot of assists, a lot of attacking talent. And he said he thinks that they need to compete in the Premier League and obviously in attacking areas. To do that, they're going to need to replace those players. Naturally, he said you would assume, I think it's probably a correct assumption, that we're looking to strengthen in that area. He said, but if players come up in other areas, they will look at that as well. But it's all about the right person, said Russell. He said, because they will recruit talent before character before talent. So you can have all the talent in the world, but if they don't have the right character, he won't sign them. So to be considered to be a Southampton player, you have to have character, and rightly so. Players that have been linked this week have been obviously Ben Brenton-Diaz. It looks like it's going to happen, but also Brandon Thomas Asante was linked in midweek. He played in the Championship last season at West Bromwich Albion. We know him well. I don't think that he will come to Southampton, but we're linked with him. Maybe he was a player we looked at, but I just don't see him coming to Southampton. He only scored 11 goals last season, 2 assists. And to be fair, when I saw him play, he's a handful, but I didn't think he was top-end Championship, let alone Premier League. But we'll wait and see. It could happen, but I don't see that being something that will happen at Southampton. Goalkeeper situations, another situation everyone talks about. They will not permanently bring in a goalkeeper, as apparently they plan to make Gavin Bazunu the first choice when he's back from his injury. Plans to loan a goalkeeper in if Matthias Liz leaves, because it looks like he wants to play regularly. So, goalkeeper-wise, I don't think anything will happen unless somebody goes out. A few players have been chatting to Alfie House and some of the press since they've been over in Spain, and a couple of interesting comments coming from Ronnie Edwards. And he said a big reason that he came to Southampton, a big factor, was the manager, Russell Martin. He said the way he plays, building from the back, and also Russell as a person. He said it is a big part of why he has come to Southampton. He said, I can make a Premier League debut as soon as possible. So that is great to hear from the young defender who has been really, really good in pre-season. This week's a busy week for Southampton. Oxford United in midweek, back on home soil. There's an open training session at St Mary's as well that you can go to. There's tickets available over on the club's website. We've got games against Millwall and Lazio coming up, all within the next week. And then there's one more before those 2 Premier League games as well, against Getafe at home as well. It's not on the list on the right-hand side, but there is that one as well. Right, guys, don't forget my fantasy league as well. I've got a fantasy FPL this season. We'd love you guys to join it. It's going to pop up on your ticker below. The code is there to join. I hope you can join me in my fantasy league this season. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do subscribe to the channel. Smash a like. It does really help my channel. And if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure to go give me a follow on TikTok. Daily updates on transfer news and stories throughout the week. And I'll be back here on YouTube with a show live on a Sunday or a Monday, but that will be advertised on my social media platforms. Thank you for joining me in this video. Hope you've enjoyed a closer look at Ben Brenton-Diaz and also everything else that's transfer related around Southampton.